Hi, and welcome to the Mike Hammer Show. On this show, we will discuss some of the things that happened today that to me are just inane, inert, and just totally ridiculous, and how we can keep letting this go on as the American people, as people that we built this country for the people, by the people, but we just let these big businesses and everybody just take control of us and basically run our lives, and we just keep accepting it while we sit back and watch TV and go to work every day. Meanwhile, everything is just changing around us, and we're paying more and more for stupid things, and stupid things. We let stupid things happen around us. I mean, we want to bring the hammer down on this stuff. Hopefully, through conversations on this show, people start to realize, start to think, and maybe we can bring the hammer down on these people. One of the first things I want to talk to today about on this show is cable television. I've had cable television for years and years, and I can remember back when, we used to have as a kid just a black and white TV with maybe or six channels, and it was good humor. There was drama. There was soap operas even, and we didn't evolve our life maybe around Ed Sullivan, but we didn't evolve our life around TV or any real TV or any of these shows like they have on today. Some of the shows are just ridiculous. But uh, it seemed to me that when cable TV was coming out, that the area reception got worse and worse, and maybe that's a plot. And maybe we could talk to Jesse's Ventura about that, a conspiracy theory. But it seemed like it could not get reception. The more and more cable TV developed, the less and less reception you got in your house. But as everybody else did, eventually I got cable TV back in the early days and loved it. That's when MTV was MTV, and when Dire Straits sang about it, and they even let Sting sing it in one of their songs that he wants his MTV. Back then, there was no reality shows on MTV. It was just music videos, which were great. I like music, and to see some of these videos is great. Now today, MTV really, is reality shows. But I accepted cable television. I accepted the price. It was better reception. Hey, and you got some extra TV stations out of it. It was a great thing. So I've had cable, and I've lived in different parts of the country where I've had different cable companies and so forth. And over the years, it constantly raises and raises. But again, I accepted that. Uh, but I recently just moved, and where I moved here in the beautiful South, newer complex, the builders, I guess, make an agreement with certain cable companies and get some sort of kickback or something to let these cable companies in first. So I'm restricted onto the cable company that I could use, and the cable company that I use is Time Warner, or I have to use, is Time Warner. And we go in, I sign up, and we need internet and things like that for business and things like that. So I sign up, and not realizing it, I get my first bill, and they're charging me for my air in my house. And what I mean by that, we've already lost our, free water and everything else and free TV, but now I have to pay for the air in my house. What the hell is up with that? What I mean by that is I have to, for internet service, I have to pay. I have to pay for, the box for the modem, and in order to get wireless internet in the house, they're charging me $15 a month to have wireless internet. Okay, I'm already paying for, like I said, the modem, which has the antenna on it. Why am I paying for the air in my house? I went down to Time Warner and I, talked to them about that, and then basically they told me that they basically broke up the bill and that with every cable company you are paying for that. Well, then Mr. Warner or Time Warner or whoever the hell you are, why is every other cable bill I've had, as just as recently as before I moved here, $15 to $20 cheaper per month for web service? It's to me it's ridiculous that I have to pay for the air in my house. To me, that seems inane. This is something that doesn't cost them anything. It should be a service. It should be just available, which everybody else does for you. And it is cheaper with other companies. And I've never seen it broken down on a bill where I have to pay for wireless internet. To me, this is the most inane, stupidest thing I've ever heard. and we should bring the hammer down on Time Warner. Anybody that complain to Time Warner if you have Time Warner. I've been in the store locally where I've heard people talk and complain. The other thing that they don't have, and I know most of the cable companies that I've dealt with, if you're on basic cable, you have a channel list, whether it's channel 2, channel 3, or it'll roll the list. I mean, it's the pain in the neck list where you gotta sit there and wait for it to roll, but at least you know what's on TV. With Time Warner, you have to buy the box in order to get the channel guide. They do not provide it with basic television. Now, I have to pay a homeowners association where I live, which provides us with basically basic cable services. But it does not provide a guide through Time Warner, where the last place I lived, again, the homeowners association supplied basic television, basic TV, and also an HBO, believe it or not. But here with Time Warner, that was a different cable company. Here with Time Warner, I actually pay a little bit more. It does not have a guide, no HBO, and it seems constantly that the TV shows or channels are unavailable. Let's bring the hammer down on Time Warner today. Anybody who is Time Warner, please speak up, because this is, to me, is the most ridiculous thing. Cable television is getting out of control. I know it costs money and everything else, but cable television has more commercials on it now than it ever did. They're making money with commercials. Everybody's getting greedy. We cannot afford to, we need to take back our TV and be able to, I believe it, I accepted cable television, but right now it's getting too ridiculous. Think about what you're paying for cable television. My God, just to watch TV. And TV is probably some of the causes that we sit home and not fight some of these things that are happening to us today, is because we come home, we watch our TV. And the shows that are on, well, that's a subject for another show of ours. But just let's bring the hammer down on them, and let's fight for our rights here. Let's try to get them, keep their payment, their costs down, so we can rely on get back to our bills, where our bills will stay low. But just speak up. I've heard people complaining in the store constantly. They don't seem to listen, but the more and more people who can, and I'll tell you right now, there's another cable company that I see. They're starting in the first section of the complex, which is actually a different complex, but the other cable company is coming in. And as soon as they're here, I'm dropping Time Warner, going back to who I was with. Was for the same amount of service, actually more service, it was cheaper by $15 to $20 a month. All right, let's move on to our next subject. Our next subject I'd like to talk about is your tax dollars going to waste. I'm not going to talk about the Obama health care, subject, or the pros and cons of that, but I will talk about the cost to build this website. I was just looking on a website that on the called The Hill, where it estimates that the cost for the website so far has been $677 million to build a website. Now, I gotta say something. I have a website. I got it for $40 a year, which is unlimited hosting. I can put as many websites on. I got probably 5 websites on there. I got to pay for the name, which is, I've got names for $1. I've got names for $20. It just depends on where you go. But $677 million for a website that still doesn't even work. Now, listen, I don't pretend to be the best business person in the world. I don't pretend to be the smartest person in the world. But the hammer has to come down on this, because this is your money. $677 million. Where did it go? I would have took that contract. I could have took, let's just call it $1 million. I would have got some web geek to develop it. He would have sat there for a year building it. He would have been very happy to have $1 million. Okay, if we need some, we needed some servers and things like that. Okay, how much can it be? Really, I could have walked away with I guarantee you, $600 million to go live on a small island someplace, and not have to worry about life anymore. But This is your dollars, $677 million for a website. Go to GoDaddy, iPage. They'll even help you build it. I get things for free websites all the time. Yeah, I know they're in it for there's some money involved, but $677 million. That is a ton of money. This is your taxpayers' dollars that are going to waste, just ridiculously. Now, the government is supposed to have people in place that who are experts in deciding what to do and how to do it and so forth. Didn't anybody research this? And how did they come up with $600 million originally? Now it's $677 million. That's a ton of money to be wasted on a website that doesn't even work. I mean, we have Facebook, we got Google that have more hits on it daily than this website has, and this website cannot even work. And I'll tell you what, Zuckerman probably didn't spend that much money building Facebook. He built it mostly himself and expanded with it. Okay? But I'm sure he did not spend $677 million on his website. Neither did Google. Neither did any of these websites that we have that are with major companies, Microsoft, things like that get millions of people on it daily. Daily. How many searches are done on Google? And Google, you don't see shutting down. But this website, leave it up to, our government and the taxpayers' dollars just to be wasted. That money could have been used to bring down the deficit. You could have got somebody in there, for a lot less money. Like I said, I would have done it for $5 million and still walked away with a lot of money and had a working website, which you can maintain. To me, this again, we gotta think about this. What's going on, guys? Come on, wake up and smell the roses. Bring the hammer down on this website on the government. Start fighting back. We need to. We're losing our country. We're losing our freedom. We're losing everything slowly by slowly. Think. That's what your head is for. Is it holds a brain. It's used not as a hat rack, but to think. A famous saying. There's three types of people in the world. There's the people that make things happen. There's the people that watch things happen. And then there's the person that goes, what happened? Well, what happened? This is all going by you, and everybody's just sitting there twiddling their thumbs. Talk about government waste. I guess Mrs. Obama had her 50th birthday party after spending 26 days away in vacation in the Bahamas or someplace that we all paid for. This is ridiculous. If you owned a company that was going downhill, which we believe that this the economy is still not good, it's still suffering. I see more and more people out of work. The government's going, the economy is in the tank, and they could throw lavish parties and go on lavish vacations. Whereas if you owned a company and you were going out of business, would you do that? Let's be honest with each other. They fought against all these people taking big bonuses and going on lavish vacations back in the heyday of Obama when he first got into office. That these people shouldn't be taking these big bonuses. They shouldn't be taking these vacations and throwing lavish parties. But meanwhile, he goes ahead and does the same thing. Let me tell you something. If when the economy was in a tube, I would have, if I was, again, I would never be made president because of my lavish background and things like that. And again, I'm not the most educated person in the world, but I try to think about what's going on and analyze it a little bit because now it is affecting you, and it affects every age person in the world. But I know that if I took over the White House the way the economy was, I would have said, listen, I don't need an inauguration ball. I don't need anything. I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to fix this economy. If I can, I will do everything I can. Once I fix it and we're making money, listen, then we'll have a celebration ball. Right? I mean, to me, this is just the way they lavishly spend on again and going into just the little topics. I mean, just not to get off the beaten subject, but even spending money. Raising money for his campaign, traveling all over the place. We paid for his travel, and he's raising billions of dollars towards his campaign. Why couldn't that $1 billion go towards the deficit? help us pay off some of the debt that we owe, or help some of the needy kids in this country, kids who are starving, kids who are lacking the education because the education system is in the dumper. Why couldn't he take that money? Again, I would have raised the money if I was president. Yes, I would raise the money, but I would put it towards. I wouldn't go on campaign. I'm already doing. If I'm doing my job, why do I need to campaign? If I have done my job and I can get the majority approval, according to all these approval polls and everything else, and I'm running at a 65% approval rate or better, why do I need to campaign? If I'm doing my job, I don't need to campaign. I don't need to go out and waste day in and day out and travel and all across the country raising money and talking, garbage with garbage and putting garbage out and taking garbage in order to try to get more votes. If I did my job, I know the American people are smart enough to realize that they need to vote for me again. And I would just continue doing my job for those 30 some odd weeks where they campaign heavy or even longer. I would be in the White House doing my job, making sure that the economy is in the right position. That's what you have to do when you have a business. And to me, the government is a business. It's a business that controls our lives, and we have to bring the hammer down on that. We need to take control of that. To me, this is again the most inane things that I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy how we let these things happen, and we just let it $677 million again for a website. It just amazes me that the American people let this happen. I mean, we went through a lot of the stuff with the Army, with Halliburton, selling plates to the servicemen over in overseas, paying $10 for a paper plate. Ridiculous. I mean, typically during the war, in the past, the economy flourished. People got jobs. People, Rosie Riveter, from the, back in the days. People went to work, and a lot of women went to work. Believe it or not, when women didn't have to work, and women had to go to work to help build, make bullets, make different things, provide for these. Today, what happened to that? It's all run by government. People that are involved in the government, are getting, Cheney, Halliburton is getting involved in getting these contracts, and it's not coming back to the American people. The American people are not flourishing out of anything anymore. It's all controlled by big business and politics. The little guy is suffering. The little guy, the guy in the corner, your local grocer. If you have a local grocer, your local deli, can't hire anybody because everybody's making $10 an hour on unemployment. So why would they work for a minimum wage at a deli and try to feel better about themselves? It's almost impossible to hire people in that price range now. Now they're fighting. They want $15 an hour, a minimum wage. This country was built on people working, certain people working for less money, certain people working for more money. It's up to you as an American person to decide how to better yourself, but to have the opportunity to do it. That's the most important thing. A person can start off at a deli, work a deli, move up, and eventually maybe own a deli or own 6 delis or 7 delis, or become a major chef and become famous. That's what America was built on. But this is being taken away from us. We have kids that go into college that graduate high school, can't read, can't add. I have a problem trying to get the right change back if they don't have amount tended on their register. They can't count. Back in the days when I went to school, we could count. You're given bill 17.25. You hand a $20 bill. These people today don't know how to count back or how to give change, and this is a problem. And the problem is, again, probably for another show, is that the schools, have become more concerned about their budgets, and the teachers making more money, and the teachers' unions and everything else, and making more money, that they're not even they're not even teaching. They're asking for extra money to help tutor kids who, if they're making $100,000 a year, they should be making sure that these kids know what they're being taught and not have to charge $90 an hour to go to their house afterwards to teach them. And that's what's happening. Again, you're paying for it. This is, again, an inane situation. When I went to school, we had our teachers who had their problems. I mean, and I went to a private school, a Catholic school. But I remember when I first started in algebra, I couldn't grab algebra in ninth grade. Could not grab it. And one of the brothers there told me, he says, "Listen, you come in. I have tutoring in the morning. Be here by 6:30 in the morning." And I had to take a bus and a subway to get to school. And I jumped on the bus and subway, got there at 6:30, and it just took two sessions of tutoring, where one, he actually helped. We were learning. Then we took a sample test. We went over the test, and we had the same test the same day in class, and I got 100%. And from there on, I was able to maintain a very high average. And also, it just takes is a little bit of effort from the teachers, but these teachers are looking for too much now. Some of the things we will be talking about. I know one school that has 18 maintenance men in it, and you keep raising the budgets. The old school books are thrown out, but you again raise the budgets. Why don't they give these old school books to the needy? Because they really don't teach that anymore. Well, what happened to that? What happened to the Constitution? The Constitution's gone. But why these things happen? Because we let it happen, and we need to wake up and start smelling roses. Bring the hammer down on them, smack them in the head, and take control and say, this is our country, this is what we want to do, these are our kids, we want our kids to grow up the right way. And kids today, the new trend is that they don't want to worry about anything, they don't care what's going on, they're just going to go out and live their life, and without worrying about anything or listening to any of the garbage that's coming in, because they even know it's garbage, what's happening in this country. This is the wrong attitude from the take. They should be fighting back, and they're the force that we need to fight back. But we need to, again, take control and do something. If you know of anything, any topics or anything like that you think are ridiculous, again, with the cable television, you have to go back again, but I think it's ridiculous that we have to pay in advance for cable television. Also, because when it goes out, do we get a refund? No. But we have to, they're sure to cut it off if you don't pay your bill on time and pay it in advance. Kind of like your cell phone. You have to pay it in advance. But the cable company also runs your credit, and if you don't have good credit, they ask for some sort of a down payment, but you're still paying in advance, so why do you need a down payment? Again, I don't know. It's inane, it's a nerd, it's stupid, it's ridiculous to me. But again, let's talk about some topics here on the next show. We want to start waking people up, thinking about this, thinking how your money is being wasted, thinking what's happening to you, think about everything that's going on around you. You need to start thinking about this and keep an eye out for what you're doing. Don't have your sun visors on while you're driving to work. Go to work, do your 8 hours, come home, cook dinner and plop yourself in front of the TV without knowing what's going on and what's affecting you, because eventually this is all going to affect everybody, every one of us. If it hasn't already affected you, it will. It's affected me. And kids, these kids are not seeing it too, but they're going the opposite direction. We need to bring them into this fold, and we need to get the right people to run the country. The right people, by that I mean is us. And let's get everything down. Let's bring the hammer down. Let's shake this place up. Let's get together and let's do something here. If everybody fights, if I can convince one person a day for something, just one little fight, or get one person to think about what's going on, and realize that we can make a change here and change the ridiculousness of a mayor of New York City trying to get rid of any sodas over 16 ounces. Who cares? We have the freedom to drink that if we want. So if you're going to take away all my sodas, I'll buy two 12-ounce cans. Is it because of more tax? What is it? I think it's the most ridiculous thing, because people are overweight. It's our bodies. It's our life. The way we want to live. It's our freedom. And one senator wanted to ban salt. I mean, you know, they're making millions of dollars off us, and this is what they want to do. They just, they become, you know, dictators and decide what they want to do. In New York, I mean, the cost of living in New York is totally ridiculous. The roads stink, and there's going to be a time when we'll talk in a show just about the tolls there. Ridiculous amount of tolls. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. I could travel 700 miles going south from New York, and I spend as much money in tolls as I do gas, which is the tolls are only through maybe Jersey or Delaware, Maryland. There's a couple, but they're usually a lot less expensive than going over the Arizona Bridge. But these things that we're going to talk about, why these things happen, how we let them get away. Don't you people think it's something ridiculous that we have to do this? I just think it's again ridiculous, and I just shake my head at people that and we have to start talking up a little bit. And I'd like to hear your comments. Write down the comments if you think we're talking about something that's good. You would like to expand on more. Let me know, and I'll do another little show that we'll talk about some other topics next week. Again, this is Mike Hammer, and Hammer Time is over for today, but bring out the hammer and let's bring these people and our country back. Thank you. Last thing before I sign off, I run a charity that helps bring music therapy to sickly kids, kids with cancer, kids with leukemia, needy kids, anything like that. We donate instruments, so if you have any old instruments or anything like that, or you just want to donate $1 to help a kid smile, please contact me via email. I can forward you information on how to donate. You can get me at Hammertime1 at yahoo.com. Hammertime1 at yahoo.com. All the help is greatly appreciated. This is a great cause. It helps kids communicate with each other, express themselves, and actually, it helps them feel better about themselves so they can fight their illnesses better. Again, this is Mike Hammer, and don't forget, it's Hammer Time.